8:52 exactly, and we now move north of South Africa, north into Africa, the Great Lakes District, a very beautiful part of Africa, but really not beautiful things happening there. There's a lot of atrocities being played out amongst the most vulnerable of peoples. They are the Banyamulenge people, and the question being asked is why are the Banyamulenge people in East Congo not on Genocide Watch? To talk to us about this matter is Dr. Tshepo Moloi, a postdoctoral research fellow, Johannesburg Institute of Advanced Study, University of Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Salam alaikum, Julie. Great morning. Thanks once more to have me.
Yeah, but great to have you here. But we're going to be talking about something pretty horrific, are we not? I mean, I've never even heard about the Banyamulenge people and what on earth is going on in in the east of the Congo.
Firstly, thank you very much once more to Salam Media. This is a beautiful opportunity to educate and share our insight. First and foremost, we're talking about Banyamulenge is a small minority group, which is basically in the east of Congo. And they basically, I think the name Banyamulenge comes from the mountain. There's a very high mountain where they are based. That mountain is called the Mulenge Mountain. And so the Ba is basically referring to the people of the Mulenge Mountain. That's what it means, Banyamulenge. Anyway, these people are claimed to be coming from Rwanda. And this is, the 17th, 18th century. So, this precedes the 1884 borders that we would have erected in Africa, right? And so the conflict that has been taking place there is the locals basically dismiss them as not Congolese, as Rwandese. And there's a long history of violence happening in that region, the Great Lakes region. But the Banyamulenge would be closest to the Tutsi. So you would remember in 1994 what made news is the Hutus and the Tutsis, 100 days of violence and blah, blah, blah. And there was a massacre of the Tutsis. The Banyamulenge are cousins or would be grouped under the Tutsis. Now, this is a problem because these identities are fickle. None of these identities are stagnant. People move all the time. So what you have here is a situation where you have a combination of people from Uganda, people from Tanzania, people from Rwanda, from Burundi, who have moved and have come together and have become families. And basically, these are the people that would be ancestors to the people that we're talking about now in this eastern region of Congo, which is Minembwe, right? And South Kivu and North Kivu come into the conversation because of the violence, that happens in that region. Now, my article that you refer to as Why Are the Banyamulenge Not on Genocide Watch is actually a play on the reality. So that article is dated September 15, 2020. The facts are Banyamulenge were placed on Genocide Watch in July 2020. But there is a background to this. In 2017, violence escalated once more after, of course, the greater violences that took place. I've just mentioned now about the Hutu and Tutsis in 94.
Right.
So when this escalated in 2017, once more, the news and, propaganda and the government of DRC, they try, to give this distorted version of the violence that's taking place there. Now, it's very important when we speak about these things to always base it on research that has been conducted, on facts that we can actually interrogate. Now, in saying this, My work and my
Can I just come in here and ask you a question? My understanding is that the Banyamulenge people have been inhabiting that area for almost 500 years. Surely, in that time frame, they have integrated with the locals around them. So, the Banyamulenge or wherever they had come from, that identity of theirs has either diluted completely or is not in existence. It makes them people of East Congo. I'm wondering, why is there still this activity, there's this apartheid against them, but then also there obviously is a political element here, because the Congolese National Army has been complicit with other armed groups in attacking the Banyamulenge. Why would they do that?
So this is this is such a painful question because it's basically based on ethnic differences. It's based on really social constructs on identity. If you go back to the details of the Hutu and Tutsi violence, it was premised on the colonial Belgians who had decided to, to basically give dogmatic lessons to the Hutus about the inferiority of the Tutsis based on their physical appearances. The nose, the skin color, the height, and all of this. And they were saying they were closer to Europeans than to Africans, and therefore they were, So, and of course, this is not unique to East DRC. We find ethnic cleansing, ethnic differences, throughout many of the conflicts that make it on Genocide Watch. Okay,
Absolutely.
so yeah, so I don't know if you still have a question, because I wanted to say
final question, because we are running out of time. That's always the problem on this show. What is Genocide Watch? How is that? Who is policing or monitoring the attacks on the Banyamulenge people, or protecting the Banyamulenge people? If you could just respond to that.
Excellent. So, Genocide Watch is a baby of Dr. Gregory H. Stanton. This is an American who is the founder and president of Genocide Watch, and they've got an alliance that basically they use volunteers, which they place all over the world to try and gather information and make alerts, to try and basically avoid the conflicts that may happen. Now, they are very important because they've got 10 stages, which we cannot go into now. But the point is, when they place a country or a region into a genocide alert, it's usually on stage 9, and which goes to stage 10. Stage 9 is extermination. Stage 10 is denial. And so Genocide Watch is important because it gives us a scholarly and, if you like, an unbiased, data that we can work with, that governments are supposed to use, to try and basically avoid the conflict that may happen in their places. Thomas Shacklock is the researcher at Genocide Watch, who basically is the one who's been doing the genocide alerts on the DRC and on the Banyamulenge people since 2020. So this is important, and I think this question is very important to also raise that besides Genocide Watch, you have the Kivu Security Tracker, which is done by the New York University Center of International Cooperation and Human Rights Watch in New York. You have stats from these centers that move you away from any biasness that people can bring to when they talk of data with regards to the violence happening in Mulenge and in East Congo.
Okay, finally, it sounds amazing to get all of this data so that you know exactly what is happening, why it's happening in certain areas, and why people are being put on Genocide Watch. But is there any proactive, anything proactive being done to protect the people and to try and re-educate to re-educate the perpetrators that what they're doing is wrong, that these people are part of this landscape and they should be allowed to live in peace and harmony?
So to answer this question, you need to go to just understand the gravity of the problem you are talking about. The Kivu security tracker that I've just mentioned tells us since 2017, 13,020 victims, incidences 4,697, kidnapping and abduction
Sure.
6,844, violent deaths 5,974. This is what the UN claims it stands for. This is what the AU claims it stands for. These multilateral bodies are supposed to intervene without fear or favor in curbing such violence. And unfortunately, they are demagogues. I mean, I have mentioned that President Felix Tshisekedi, who is not just the AU chair, and this is happening on his watch, he's the incoming SADC chair since August 2021. And you're thinking, I mean, this is crazy. This is absurd. Why would you put a person like that to preside, whereas in his own country, such mass murder is taking place?
Okay, we definitely need to wrap up because we've got to take news on the hour. A very short and quick answer. Do you believe that boots on the ground would perhaps stop the atrocities against these innocent people? Yes or no?
Not enough. It won't be enough.
Okay. All right. Thank you indeed for bringing this issue to the fore. Like I indicated, it's the first time ever I've heard about the Banyamulenge people. Thank you for bringing it to the world's attention. You go well. And assalamu alaikum to you, Dr. Tshepo Moloi. It is exactly 4 after 9 o'clock. We're now going to be taking news on